I'm Jasmine Veal here in Santa Clara tonight as the San Francisco 49ers took to the practice field for the first time since the NFL lockout ended. Of course, they're excited as well as fans. But tonight, we're going to talk about what a new stadium means for this city. Hey, it's going to be built right across the street. Meanwhile, more local news to get to as your Central Coast News starts right now.
Central Coast News right now. This is breaking news.
Breaking news in the last hour, the U.S. Senate did what it promised. Senators rejected House Speaker John Boehner's plan to raise the debt ceiling. The House had passed the plan just earlier this afternoon. We are counting down until the deadline for the debt ceiling compromise on the bottom right corner of your screen to keep everyone in the loop. And we have 360 coverage as the countdown to the debt ceiling crisis moves on, including one Central Coast woman being forced to pay her bills before Tuesday's deadline. Plus, why hospitals are afraid they may be getting stiffed by the government, and we'll answer some of your questions about the crisis. But first, thousands of people on the Central Coast are fearing the worst. Social Security offices are being flooded with phone calls about the crisis. And as Central Coast News reporter Caitlin Sykes found out, one woman is being forced to pay her bills early before her checks stop coming. Caitlin?
Well, that's right. I want you to take a look at this woman right here. Her name is Sarah Franklin, and she is from Freedom. She said this morning she got a call from her landlord asking for rent early because they're afraid she won't have money to pay it next week if she doesn't get her Social Security check.
It's just really scary. And I feel like a baby crying, you know, but the thing is, I'm not just by myself. There's other people.
Sarah Franklin lives at the Pajaro Vista Apartments, a government-funded complex that charges rent based on what you get in Social Security. Franklin gets about $970 in Social Security, so her rent's about $250 a month. It's the end of the month and she's basically out of cash, so hearing the complex wanted next month's rent early was quite a shock.
I have a PG&E bill, $50 that needs to be paid. And you think that they won't shut my PG&E off if I don't pay that bill? Of course they will. Just like they'll throw me out if I can't pay my rent.
She said she thought about looking for a job this morning or seeing if she could apply for food stamps just to get by.
We have some people in here that cannot go back to work. Even if they offered them a job tomorrow, they couldn't go to work.
Franklin notified Senior Network Services this morning, and they were just as shocked.
If the whole senior complex is not getting Social Security checks, no one will be able to pay their rent on the first or third of the month. So they can't evict everybody from the senior housing complex. So we're telling seniors, don't pay your rent ahead of time.
Now, Franklin said just before I got there this afternoon, her landlord said not to worry about paying early, that they're positive she'll be getting her Social Security check next week. But Franklin isn't so sure. I'm Caitlin Sykes, your Central Coast News.
More in your 360 coverage. The debt ceiling crisis also has a victim many people don't know about. Hospitals and doctors. CNN Money reports doctors and hospitals may not get Medicare reimbursements if the issue is not resolved. We reached out to several hospitals on the Central Coast about the issue. We are waiting to hear back from Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital, Community Hospital, the Monterey Peninsula, and Natividad Medical Center to see how much money they could lose out on. We're only touching on a few of the key things that would affect you and your family if the debt ceiling does not get passed. As we told you, Social Security may not be paid on time. Interest rates on big purchases like on homes and cars may go up. Also, military personnel may not get paid, and people on Medicare and Medicaid may not get the money they need for health care. And one other group that has not been touched on will also be hit hard as well. The debt ceiling negotiations could put federal funding for college students at risk. Right now, students could qualify for up to $5,500 of free dollars from the federal government in the form of Pell Grants. Not to mention subsidized federal loans, which means students who get these don't have to pay any interest. The question is, what would happen if the federal government doesn't reach a debt deal and these programs are put on hold?
It'd be pretty disastrous for a lot of students who can only achieve their dream of going to college through financial aid.
As of now, Republicans and Democrats don't plan to cut Pell Grants in their debt negotiation deals. Many of you are asking, if the government doesn't reach a compromise, who will get paid and who will get left out. The United States Treasury said today they have a plan but will not share it until the deadline comes and goes without a deal. We are receiving a lot of KION questions tonight from you about the debt ceiling. This one comes in from Keisha in Prunedale. She wants to know, how many times has the debt ceiling been raised by presidents before Obama? Well, Keisha, according to the Congressional Research Service, the debt ceiling has been raised 74 times. In fact, 10 times that occurred since 2001. Thanks to Keisha there for the question. And we want to know what your questions are about the debt ceiling tonight. Just go to our website, KIONrightnow.com, and click on the debt ceiling link at the top of the homepage. We'll answer those questions as best we can. New information tonight on a Central Coast hospital hoping to break ties from the county's control so it will have money. Today, the Monterey County Board of Supervisors approved Natividad Medical Center's request to become a public hospital authority. This means the hospital will be responsible for its own finances and operations and not rely on county general funds. Hospital CEO Harry Weiss said this move will make sure the hospital sticks around for another 125 years.
With regret, Natividad's current business model, current governance model is not sustainable over the long term. We are forecasting operating losses beginning in 2017 of at least $1 million per year, growing to over $9 million.
First, the hospital must create a new business model before the move can happen. The state legislature must then approve it. New information on a former Pajaro Valley High School teacher accused of having sex with 2 teenagers. A judge dismissed the case against Tanya Thongern. A judge said Thongern is medically unable to stand trial. And this is video from a previous court appearance. Last October, Thongern was hit by a taxi in the Bay Area and put into a coma. New at 6, garlic lovers rejoice. The internationally acclaimed Gilroy Garlic Festival is now open. Over the past 3 decades, the festival and number of volunteers has grown. Lucero Benitez found out what volunteers say has changed over the years.
Running them back to the entrance gate to resell the tickets for people coming on in. They ran out of foods, they ran out of everything.
Joan Kramer remembers the Garlic Festival's first year in 1979. She said organizers weren't ready for the 20,000 people who showed up.
It was fun, you know, but there was so many people, and people had a lot of fun.
That's why volunteers keep coming back. Clyde Krieger is 73 and lives in Arizona, but for the past 11 years, traveled to Gilroy because of the people he meets.
I've seen people here from Japan, from foreign countries, and they're just amazed that such a little bitty plant like a garlic has such a fantastic following.
But volunteers say the food is the festival's heart.
Every year, volunteers get to work at different stations. Gourmet Alley is one longtime volunteers look forward to the most. They get to try new dishes like the alley wrap first.
And there's a 50-50 chance to get in this tent. It takes half the 4,000 volunteers to prepare food. After volunteering for 15 years, Javier Mercado is now in charge of Gourmet Alley.
Makes me feel great. The food here is awesome. So we're just trying to add the dishes that we think are going to be of appeal to the people that are coming to the festival.
When I asked volunteers how much longer they plan to help,
I'll keep coming as long as I can come. I just can't miss them.
Until the creek rises or the good Lord takes me home.
I don't think they can get rid of me. I think I'll be here for a long time to come.
Lucero Benitez in Gilroy, your Central Coast News.
Well, it's hard to stay away with all that garlic, and Lucero was talking about there the alley wrap. At first I said, what is that? But then I think we had a taste of that. It has a rice, shrimp, even some steak, and of course the garlic in there. Very good stuff. I'm with Norm Hoffman here in the Weather Center. If people are going over to Gilroy for the garlic, how's the weather?
Well, you know, we've seen temperatures in the triple digits. We've seen temperatures in the 70s and 80s. We're kind of in between this time. Let's take a look at the graphics. With the ridge over the top of us and the ridge pushing in over Southern California, Saturday will be mostly sunny. high of 88 degrees in Gilroy. Not bad, but warm for us if you're headed over that direction. On Sunday, temperatures will see partly sunny skies. There'll be some sun, some clouds, but a little bit cooler. Temperature 85 degrees. So, Mark, we've seen some pretty extreme temperatures over there, but I'd say for Gilroy, these are pretty good temperatures, and it should be some beautiful weather for eating some garlic. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Norm. Football is back, and many people are excited for the action. I got stuck here in the studio, but Jazz, you were lucky enough to catch the first practice for the San Francisco 49ers this year.
Yeah, you were talking about the smell of garlic. I think you can smell football in the air. We are here live in Santa Clara at the home of the San Francisco 49ers, and day one of training camp is over. The players ready to head home for the night. But now that the NFL lockout is over, many people hoping to add a few more signatures onto their collection tonight. But as for the new stadium for the San Francisco 49ers right across the roadway, that plan isn't completely locked down just yet. This is the vision, a $1 billion football stadium to seat 68,000 fans right in the heart of the business district in Santa Clara.
Right across the street from the proposed stadium there.
Santa Clara Councilman Kevin Moore has been behind the proposal for years and was thrilled when voters approved funding for it last year.
You can hear the train in the background, so we have great access for the train and light rail right here. The site's got all the infrastructure. The difference between this site and other plans in the Bay Area is this is actually going in the right direction, approved by the voters, and the money's coming along very well.
But concerns about funding still loom, and whether the 49ers and Raiders will share a home base when all is said and done. But Moore says this needs to be the site.
People want to be in this area. It's become a real destination. We have an amusement park here now, a convention center. And the football stadium really makes it a real solid destination place.
The NFL lockout also slowed things down a bit for the project.
So during this time, they took a break, we didn't.
All right, so speaking with the city, the end date for this new stadium, if all goes as planned, you know how these things go, the end date is 2015. And actually, I got word from the city right up the road from here, even Joe Montana is looking to build here as part of this big development project.
Huge legend in 49er sports. You can't go without Joe Montana and the 49ers in any project. Yeah,
exactly.
People excited about that for sure.
Oh, they definitely are. So is the city, obviously, really making a hard push for this stadium to be built here. You just got out of the the news conference in there, so tell me how
That's
that
right.
went.
We just talked to Coach Harbaugh. He said he was happy with the way the first practice of the season went. He said if he could bottle all the energy from the first day of training camp and keep it that way all year long, they'd be in good shape. But I asked him about his 3 key players on offense that were missing from practice today. So in just a few minutes, you'll hear what he had to say about Alex Smith, Frank Gore, and Michael Crabtree not being around, and hopefully when they'll be back.
Oh, and a few fans giving Alex Smith a hard time earlier today.
Yeah, he's had a tough go of it, but, you know, people and the team especially is standing behind him.
All right, thanks, Brooke. Mark, we'll send it back to you from the home of the San Francisco 49ers.
In just 2 minutes, Norm Hoffman will have your training camp forecast for both the 49ers and the Raiders. Plus, a new report attacks the Food and Drug Administration over medical devices. And back to the football, we are on Facebook asking, what is your favorite football moment? Jesse Munoz says, having a season to watch. We'll read more of those comments coming up throughout the newscast.
I'm Jasmine Veal, and coming up here from Santa Clara, the San Francisco 49ers ran practice drills out here today. But will they be coming back to practice in the Monterey Bay? The answer coming up.
The largest news-gathering organization on the Central Coast, with offices in Santa Cruz, Monterey, Salinas, San Luis Obispo, Santa Maria, and Santa Barbara. Now in high definition. Central Coast News, right now.